everybody. Welcome back to the College Town Podcast. I'm Derek DeBurger. With me, as always, is Sam Roth.
How are we doing, guys?
Well, we argue for a long time about Florida State. Not shocking at all. We do a light pick'em segment, but we still do it at the very end.
Participate.
Yeah, you can do that on YouTube.
Why not?
Right here, the thing you're watching this on.
Boom.
We talk about the transfer portals, which quarterbacks, I'm saying a lot, which quarterbacks we think were the best currently in the transfer portal. We also talk about coaching carousel. And then, of course, we talk about the greatest football program of all time, the Idaho Vandals.
Fantastic.
With their mascot.
Joe Vandal.
Stay tuned. We'll see you in the episode.
Absolutely.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Florida State got screwed. How's your weekend been?
I had a rough week.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah. But it is what it is.
well, that's why people watch the College Town podcast.
So you can forget about your week.
Yeah. All their worries just melt away. I think in each episode we've had at least one person say, I watched this and I now have no worries. Every single episode.
And to that one person, we say, glad we could help.
Yeah. It's been a different person every time. I think we're really helping
The
public.
masses. Yeah.
Yeah, the masses,
Good.
society.
Absolutely. One person at a time. And you know what? That makes it worth it.
Yeah.
How was your week while we're talking about
it? It was good. It was good.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. I wish Louisville would have won the ACC.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Would have guaranteed that spot in the Orange Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, instead.
Is it surprising to say I'm not surprised that Florida State didn't make it? I kind of saw this. Did I not say this last week?
No, I think you did.
I think I said if Alabama wins, it's going to force Florida State out.
Yeah, probably. I think you did say something along those lines, yes. I still think it's ridiculous. Here's my take on that, which we could talk about the specifics of the games. This is the biggest story. We're gonna talk about
1,000%. An undefeated Power 5 school did not make the playoff.
The whole reason everyone is like, of course Florida State shouldn't make it. They're not one of the 4 best teams. Guess what? For half the year now, everyone's been saying Oregon's better than Washington. Oregon's one of the 4 best teams in the country.
Yep.
Oregon is going to beat Washington because they're better than Washington. Guess what? Oregon has 2 losses and Washington has 0.
And those
Everyone
2 losses
has
to Washington.
said Oregon's one of the best teams in the country, one of the 4 best teams for months now. Guess what? They're not, because they didn't win. Florida State won every game they played, and everyone's talking about like this. This ends up being a slight to Louisville a little bit.
Oh yeah,
because everyone's like, oh my God, their offense looked anemic. They couldn't do anything. It's like, well, did you ever stop to consider the fact that they're playing a top 20 defense in both scoring and points per game? Did that ever cross people's minds that Louisville's defense is just really good? Because it is this year. We have a really good defense this year. But instead they're like, nah, Florida State can't do anything.
I mean, they literally had to pull out all the tricks. One game I watched, and it was like...
Yeah, they had to go to the Wildcat.
They basically fully went to the Wildcat to win that game. And it was basically one play, a couple of plays that solidified them winning that game. One big run to get them into the goal line. An interception by Plummer that really decided. I mean, like, there were some key moments in that game where Louisville had a shot.
Louisville left like 13 points on the board. Louisville could have won.
Louisville left a touchdown on the board and then also a field goal.
So first drive of the game, we had Jimmy Callaway, ball hit his hands. He just dropped it.
Mm-hmm.
He gets that. I'm not saying we score a touchdown, probably get a field goal out of it. That's 3 points. He underthrew Chris Bell later in the first quarter. He was wide open. He was streaking. No one was in front of him. That was a touchdown. That's 10 points. And then the interception, we could have got at least 3 points out of that. So that's 13 points.
Yeah, I mean, but back to the subject of like the 4 that got in and why Florida State's out.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 questions to be had here. And here's my take on it. Is Florida State one of the best 4 schools in college football right now? The answer, in my opinion, is no. Are they one of the most deserving 4 schools to be in the playoffs? Yes. So it's it is a question of best versus deserving, because I feel like, did they deserve to be in? Yes. Are they one of the best? No. And I think it really depends on how you word that question and in the committee's minds of which one matters. And I don't think anyone's really arguing that. I think when Michigan audibly gasped when they have to play Alabama over Florida State because they realized Florida State's at 5, because they knew Florida State at 4 was going to be a much easier game.
Yeah, but that's the whole like betting markets thing, you know, where Nick Saban last year was like, Vegas has us a favorite over 3 of the 4 teams in. Why are we not in? It's like, because you lost. You lost too many games. What do you mean? Why are you not in?
I mean, like, it's one of those where it's like, there's like,
that's just it. My viewpoint on it is they were undefeated.
yeah,
Games have to matter because you can't say like, oh well, Florida State was trending in the wrong direction, and then go and put Texas over Alabama because Texas won the head-to-head.
right.
You can't do that because then you're saying like
You're drawing a line of like, this is okay for one team but not for the other.
exactly. And then the reason they put Liberty in the New Year's Six Bowl over SMU, Boo Corrigan, the athletic director for NC State and the head of the playoff right now, this selection committee, he was asked why they put Liberty in over SMU, and he said, well, they just kept winning games, we couldn't deny them. It's like, well, what did Florida State do? They kept doing that in a tougher conference. I don't. It's ridiculous.
Was the ACC tougher than the SEC this year? I know the SEC was down, but
ACC, you can make the argument. SEC absolutely was down this year. It was not the best conference this year.
I think we can all agree it was the Pac-12 and the Big Ten. There's no question about
I don't think the Big Ten was all that good either. Big Ten had 3 teams, and that's it. That's it.
I mean, like, I suppose, but it's like everyone agrees that the Pac-12 was good.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and then the rest of them were.
I think it's kind of a down year for football, a little bit, just because SEC is not what it normally is. Big Ten is not what it normally is. Pac-12 was great, but the ACC was kind of average.
The
Big
ACC
12 was kind of average.
The ACC, everyone kind of just beat up on each other, so you couldn't really solidify who was like a really good team.
Yeah, I mean, I will say the ACC has the most
bowl
eligible teams out of any power conference.
10?
11.
11,
which is 3 off from every single team in the conference being in a bowl
Which
game.
I think just might go to show that the conference may not have any great or excellent teams.
Because
I think if you're beating up everyone else, and it might be just a certain level of mediocrity where no one stands out.
I agree with you. I agree with you to an extent, but also the ACC did very well in non-conference.
Right.
Minus, like Virginia Tech was awful non-conference, but they finished like 6-6, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
But, no, I just think like.
So
I just think they're applying different standards for different teams, quite literally, just because they don't want Florida State in, they want Texas in, they want Alabama.
I think they just wanted Alabama in.
They wanted Texas in too. There's a reason.
No, Texas is above Alabama for the sole purpose of they beat them in Tuscaloosa by 10 early in the season. That's the reason.
Oh, I know, but also they kept. Give Texas credit; they just kept winning games.
Right. Other than Oklahoma, they just won games.
Mm-hmm. In the Oklahoma game, really, they shot themselves in the foot.
Well, they also just lost on the last-second touchdown, too.
And they shot themselves in the foot that game.
Right.
They could have beat Oklahoma easy.
Mm-hmm.
But, just it was a game that didn't go their way. But Kansas State they finished the year 2-2. Their last 4 games, they went 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
And Kansas State stayed in the top 25 like that entire time. It's to boost Texas's resume. I am firmly a believer of that.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, like, I'm not arguing Texas shouldn't have gotten in based off of how the results came. I think no one's arguing Michigan and Washington. I'm not really.
I agree with you there.
I'm not really arguing Texas either because they should be in front of Alabama, as they deservedly are.
I think so.
And then Alabama beats Georgia, so Alabama's in front of Georgia.
Yeah.
So that means Texas is then in front of Georgia because if they beat
that eliminates Georgia right there.
Right. So,
just the order of operations.
so then, based off of that, the only teams that you really have left off of that to put in for that fourth spot is Florida State, Alabama, or Ohio State. It's kind of where it's at.
Yeah, but here's another thing that's bothering me. Florida State has caught so much crap for not looking great against Florida, their rival, when that very Saturday, it took a crazy 4th and 31 play for Alabama to beat Auburn.
Yep.
A team that the week prior got blown out at home by New Mexico State.
Yep.
And no one with Alabama, they're like, oh my God, that showed so much grit, so much heart and passion to pull that game out. And then with Florida State, they suck.
Here's
They
what
suck. I get the quarterback thing is an issue. I do.
here's what I will say about it is that if the committee basically says, and now I don't agree with this, I'm just going to say this,
All right.
based off of the way the committee's thinking, basically saying they don't have their quarterback, he broke his leg, they're not the same team without their quarterback, and that's one of the reasons why we're not putting them in. Would you not then agree, committee, that Jordan Travis should be like the Heisman winner?
By what they're saying.
I mean, like,
they're not the ones voting on it. But
no, but I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, if he's that valuable to that team,
Mhm.
why wouldn't he be raising the Heisman in a month or so?
I think it's Saturday.
Oh, is it this Saturday?
I think so.
Oh, I don't know when it is.
Yeah, because the rest of the awards are on Friday. It's
Yeah.
always the night
And it
before.
appears that the Heisman winner is going to be Jaden Daniels.
It looks like it.
It looks like it. It based off statistically in the fact that Bo Nix couldn't get it done against Washington twice.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a stat award now where we're going to give it to the best stats.
Look, he had a great year.
I'm not saying he
And
didn't.
the thing is, if they had a better defense, they'd
have
a much better record.
This is a fantastic offense LSU has.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, is Jordan Travis not the Heisman? Because you're basically saying he's that good to a team to where they don't deserve to be in the playoff.
If you actually watched the game against Louisville, you would see that Florida State played. You would see just how good the team is.
I would say the defense.
The defense is phenomenal.
The defense is a playoff defense.
The receivers are very good. The refs just kind of, for the most part, they let the teams play.
Yeah, I mean, like, Keon Coleman's nice. They also had the 6'7" wide receiver. What's his name?
Johnny Wilson.
Yep. I mean,
Tall guy.
I mean, yeah, he's very tall.
But
But I mean, like, yeah,
they're good.
I want to say
They're
this.
good.
Prove us wrong. I mean, prove the committee wrong. Go out and destroy the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
I mean, like, prove that you should have deserved to be in, and then 14-0, and then you can raise a UCF banner.
Yeah. Central Florida should have been in too. That's the thing. That's the whole. I think Central Florida should have been in when they had Scott Frost. Absolutely, they should have been in.
When they played Auburn, I think that was Auburn.
Yes.
Yeah.
They should have been in. Without a shadow of a doubt, they should have been
I do
in.
not recall how that year ended exactly and who got in over them to give an opinion.
What year was that? 2016?
Somewhere around there.
2018.
2018.
2018? I don't know. I just think winning games is the most important thing.
So that year it was Clemson 1, Bama 4, Oklahoma 2, and Georgia 3. And what ended up happening is the 4 seed Alabama, who UCF should have taken it from, won the whole thing.
Yeah, but who is what are the records of the team? Do you know?
No, it appears that probably Georgia and Alabama played each other each and split it, and it appears that Georgia beat Bama in the SEC championship.
That is exactly what happened.
And then Bama,
Alabama's only loss was to Georgia in the SEC championship.
and then they went on to beat Georgia in overtime.
I just think it's ridiculous.
So, I mean, if that happened, you don't have Alabama winning that national championship that year.
Wins matter, man. The wins are important.
Yeah, I mean, definitely have a big job to do, basically.
Yeah, I mean, if Alabama that year beat Clemson 24-0, 24-6, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, make the argument like, oh, was Clemson really the best team? Was Alabama really the fourth team? It's like you can play this game all you want, but the wins are what matter.
You want to know what's funny though is this might be the first year since the playoff has come out where it honestly might have made sense to have go back to the BCS. This is like the first year where you have a clear 1 and 2. And it should have just been 1 and 2 play for a national championship, and that makes sense. Now, I will say, as a caveat, the BCS ratings and the computer thing sucked. And I'm glad that we're at the playoff now, and I'm glad it's going to 12 next year to make it even better. But I'm just saying, this might be the first year in the playoffs where everyone agrees on who the 1 and 2 seeds are. No one's questioning that at all. So the argument could be made that reality is that they should just play for the national championship, even though they shouldn't, but they should.
I disagree with that. And
what the top 2 teams in the nation right
the
now?
whole going back to the BCS for this year.
Well, I mean, like it kind of makes sense though if you think about it.
No,
I don't want to. I do not want to. But
eat dirt, man.
I mean,
what are you talking about?
It makes sense though. Am I wrong for thinking that it makes sense?
Yes. Pound sand, buddy. What are you talking about?
Please explain to me how we don't agree on the 1 and 2 seats here.
This is democracy at work, the playoff. That's what this is.
Yeah, and dumb people get votes is what we're finding out, and that democracy isn't perfect.
Well, yeah, it's like what, I don't know, Socrates said it maybe?
Yeah, voting is a job, not a right. Or something.
I'm not...
It's something along those
If
lines.
he said that, that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Socrates based said that.
Well, he said
people don't deserve the right to vote. Educated people deserve the right to vote, or something to that effect.
We can get into that later. But
that's a fun
basically,
topic.
He said if you want an argument against democracy, go out and talk to someone.
Yep.
That's all he said. But no, playoff is better. And by the way, anyone who thinks that this is gonna go away when we have the 12 team play, no, it's not. No, it's not.
I mean,
this is not gonna go away. There's gonna be heated debates between whoever's ranked, 11 and 12.
Yeah, but this time, let me put it this way. I feel like there's only a handful of teams, like 6 to 7 teams every year that really truly have a shot.
I would say it's smaller in college football.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll let you say what you're saying.
So, like, you have, like, 6 or 7, really. I really think, like, this year, looking at it, you had, like, 7 teams that deserve to be in. That you can make a case for to be in. Mm-hmm. It's the 4 that got in, and then you have Florida State, Georgia, and Ohio State. I think we can all agree on that. Those 1-loss teams, all those are there.
Oregon was still pretty good.
Oregon was good.
They lost twice, but Oregon was still really good.
But a 2-loss team, but, like, you could throw them in 8. It doesn't matter. 8.
Yeah.
So, like, that's about where the cutoff is. We can all kind of agree on that. All of those teams, by the way that it's going to go, unless there's, like, 3 in one conference, are all going to make it next year. All of them are going to have a shot.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's going to be as heated debate because everyone that, in quote-unquote, truly has a shot at it is going to make it next year.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's going to be as much of heated debate because there's one thing to have a shot and then there's another thing to be like, oh, yay, we made it.
Here's how I feel about that. In college basketball, you've got the field of 68. There's really like 8 teams. Give or take, there's like 8
to
teams.
win it. But then there's
there's 8 teams that can win it every year. In football, it's less. It's a lot less. I think it's a chicken and the egg situation as like, okay, is it less because there's only 2 spots and people know the best of the best of the best are the only ones that are even going to be able to compete for it? Or, they know that, and so that's why they go to all the best teams? Or is it like only the best, a few teams are actually good, and so that's why they have such a small number of people that can compete for the national championship? I think once the playoff expands, there's going to be more parity. I really do believe that, because people will see, like, I can go to the playoff and I don't have to play for Alabama.
No.
And so there's not going to be this, it's still going to happen, don't get me wrong, but there's not going to be this gross concentration of talent to, like, the Alabamas, Georgias, Ohio States of the world, because people are like, oh, I can go be a 3-loss, Notre Dame team and potentially squeeze my way in with a good enough resume.
I think 2 is definitely the cutoff, but 3
No,
is...
this argument's going to happen, trust me.
You think there's going to be... I mean, yeah, definitely.
Right now, they would be... It doesn't matter because it's a 4-team playoff right now. You know that they would be shoehorning LSU in there. You'd be like, oh, that offense, it's dynamic, You know they would be putting LSU in there.
I mean, yeah. It's right at the cutoff. I have them ranked 13. So,
yeah.
It is interesting. I mean, the other fun thing about it, though, is that I do wonder for next year if you're going to see very dominant non-Power 5 schools, because, like, is this going to help the rise of Boise State again, or is this going to is it going to help the rise of a team like Liberty, JMU? Is it just going to be where it's like, hey, come here because at the end of the year we're going to beat up on these small dogs, and then we're going to get in because we're going to be the best non-Power 5.
Yeah, I think that...
You know what I mean? Like, is there going to be one school that's going to push their way to the forefront?
I know exactly what you mean, yeah. I think there's going to be the best of the best when it comes to the group of 5 is going to be better than normal. I think it's going to start becoming better than it normally has been, which there's usually one team every year, at least one team in the group of 5 that's really good, that just doesn't get the respect that they deserve because they're group of 5.
Southern Methodist.
Yeah. SMU, I mean, I don't know. They got doubled up by TCU, so I don't know.
Very early in the year.
I'll agree with that. I can't disagree. It's factual, but
I mean, they did roll. I mean, same argument with that. Well, we lost to Texas early in the year. We're not the same team. That's what Saban said. We're not the same team that we once were.
Saban's a baby. He gets paid $11 million a year. Anyway,
rumor that he's retiring.
You said that. Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll find out.
I don't think it's going to be this year.
So, I think the teams that are already good are going to get a little bit better than normal, but I still think there's going to be like, okay, this mindset of, yeah, we can get to the playoff if
right.
If Liberty goes 13-0, we can get to the playoff. Are we going to win a game? I might as well transfer to Oklahoma or Utah.
Yeah.
Try and actually win a game.
Right.
Yeah. And also, I feel so bad for these schools. They're not going to get a home playoff game. They're just not going to. They're not going to be ranked high enough.
No.
I feel so bad for them because that would be awesome. That'd be awesome if, like...
They really have to run the table like a Cincinnati did or something. And UCF would have gotten a home game. They were, what, like 6?
Yeah, UCF was up there. Well, they were good.
Right. So, I mean, like, Cincinnati made
really good
and
that
they were a non-Power 5. They made the 4 seed.
They made the 4 seed and played Alabama close. People don't ever talk about that. They played them really close.
Right. And so, I mean, like, you could definitely get a home game. The thing about it is that you just can't have a hiccup in the season to get to that point.
Yeah.
You got to be perfect.
I mean, it's going to be the way it has been in the past, you know?
Absolutely. Just expand the field. It'll be fun to watch. See what's going on.
I'm looking forward to it.
Any other games that you want to point out about or anything?
I mean, Miami of Ohio beat Toledo. I don't think either of us are expecting that. Both of us.
Toledo looked good in the season, but yeah.
They've got a good quarterback too. But
Miami of Ohio beat Cincinnati this year.
Yeah, but Cincinnati lost to just about everyone this year. I think they finished with like 3 or 4 wins.
Yeah, I think it was like 3-9 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
they were not good. But
nope. But hey,
that was a little bit of an upset. Yeah, SMU beat Tulane.
Coaching carousel
and with a backup quarterback, by the way.
Really?
SMU's starting quarterback, got hurt before the game. Didn't play.
Oh wow.
So that's very impressive win by SMU, especially considering it's at Tulane. And I've been saying this all year. I think Tulane's a very good team. Yeah. You want to talk about the coaching carousel?
Sure. What
Any-
news
any
is in the world of the
updates?
coaching carousel?
Yes. So there have been some hirings.
I believe Jeff Lebby to Mississippi
I
State.
think we talked about that already.
Well, here's something I want to mention. There's been photographs that have been come out of Jeff Lebby with a certain famous quarterback.
Was it Dylan Gabriel?
It is Arch Manning.
Arch Manning.
Arch Manning is not in the portal, but was photographed at Mississippi State with Jeff Lebby. Make of that what you will.
Like, recently?
This week.
That's shocking.
So, yeah, let me show you.
I mean, they're a New Orleans family. You know, dad played for Ole Miss, uncle played for Ole Miss. You know, New Orleans is right there next to Mississippi. Makes sense. That would be crazy. That would be very crazy. But probably the biggest change. I think there's three big news.
That's the photo.
Wow, that's a photo.
And that was
He's got some big legs. Arch Manning does.
that was 6 days ago.
He's got some very muscular legs for a quarterback. I
Yeah.
guess that's what they look like these days. Back in my day, they all looked like Peyton.
Right.
They had a 5 head and didn't look like an athlete. Anyway, Willie Fritz of Tulane left Tulane to go to Houston.
Interesting.
Very interesting, especially because he was very, very vocal about, I want to retire at Tulane. This is the last head coaching job I'm going to get. And then he immediately took that job. So,
The interim for Boise got hired on after winning the championship, as it looks like.
yeah. They had Boise State promoted their interim. Sean Lewis, the, I guess, former offensive coordinator for Colorado, got hired by San Diego State.
He was already out. As soon as he got demoted from play
was
calling and Dion threw him in the O-line underneath, you knew he was gone.
I think that's a good hire by San Diego State.
I think it's a great hire.
And then what I think is so far the best hire of this coaching carousel is Indiana got Kurt Signetti
Good old former
from
JMU.
James Madison. That is a home run of a hire,
It
in
is.
my opinion.
We'll see what they're able to do. He had some quotes in a press conference talking about on how stars aren't everything in recruiting, and we do our own looks, and there's talent in everyone, whether a 2, a 3, a 4-star, or not ranked at all. And I think it was a very smart quote by him, because knowing Indiana, they are not going to get the 5 stars.
Definitely not at first, at least.
So he's going. It's a great tactic to be like, hey, you feel like you're undervalued? Come here, you'll get a shot sooner rather than later, you know. And it's like, I think it's a great message to send out because he did that in like his initial interview of being the new head coach. It was a great take, in my opinion.
It's interesting to me, though, because Indiana is a basketball school. No one's denying that. They've got one of the top basketball programs all time.
It's
definitely I mean, wherever you want to rank it, they've been down, sure.
Oh, yeah,
but they're
it's
top 10. You can't deny it. You know,
Yeah, I suppose.
Tom Allen's buyout was the third largest in history.
Really? What was his buyout?
It was like $16.5 million.
Oh, wow.
Something like that.
So he's nowhere near Jimbo level, but
No, nowhere near that. But huge buyout from a basketball school.
it was a take. Basically, they were done with mediocrity.
I think
Worse than that. He went 33-49 or something like that while he was there. It was.
I think Indiana's seeing what Stoops did at Kentucky, where for those of you who don't know, when Mark Stoops got the job, when he was interviewing for the job, he essentially told the athletic director, hey, if you give me the job, you can't fire me after 3 years for not doing well. You can't fire me if you never build me facilities. If you hire me, you have to build me state-of-the-art facilities. You have to give me time. And I think Indiana's seeing what happens when you do that. And they're like, okay, let's go get ourselves a guy who we think is good, and let's give him the resources to be successful.
And also, Stoops has taken Kentucky from
The punching bag of
to
the SEC along
now
with
a
Vandy.
respectable
Yeah, they're middle of the pack SEC now.
They're a respectable program now.
And you can say, oh, they're middle of the pack. Guess what? That's a huge improvement.
It honestly is.
We hate Kentucky here. We are going to give the flowers when they are deserved. That is a massive, massive job well done.
It's very funny because when he was rumored to go to A&M, it's like, okay, I don't know if he's good enough to go get a national title. I don't know if he's that good enough of a coach. But it also was a take of like where like both programs are like, we're worse off losing this guy.
Your Kentucky friend said that. Mine were very happy he was leaving.
Really?
Yes.
And I think like
my friends know football.
I don't know though. I feel like it's kind of weird. I feel like for what Stoops has done for Kentucky, you could argue he deserves like a statue.
I would not say that. They've got 2 10-win seasons under him. You think that deserves a statue?
I think from where they were to what he's done.
If you're if you're covered in dirt and you go take a shower, you don't deserve a pat on the back.
But that is not even remotely the same thing.
It definitely is.
No, it is not.
Yeah. Because now you've taken a shower, you're just level with the rest of the world. It's not like
But
like you're Mr. Clean.
He is a bowl eligible. He's made.
Oh, there we go. Bowl eligible. That's
in a tough SEC.
top tier. Bowl eligible.
Oh my gosh.
Tough SEC. They play 3 gimmies every year, and
Right.
for the last however many years, Louisville's been a gimme. So that's four wins
To be
right
fair,
out of
they
the
did
gate.
beat us this year when we went to a championship.
I know. That's why I included Louisville in there. Just saying. Anyway, I was going to ask you which job remaining is still the best, but it's Duke, and there's not really a question. It's the only Power 5 job left.
Really?
Yeah, it's the only Power 5 job available right now.
So,
And even then, it doesn't seem like it's that good a job. So, all right.
what do you make of the news today of some transfers that are going on?
Yes, that's a great transition.
Because what we got right here is Kyle McCord's in the transfer portal for Ohio State. He is not going to play the bowl game.
Yeah. It's very, very interesting. That one is not as interesting to me as another one.
With Dylan Gabriel?
Yes, Dylan Gabriel is the one where I'm like, oh, why did he transfer? Like, they're good. He played really well. You know, Brent Venables is building something there, it seems like.
Yeah.
Building, it's Oklahoma.
Well, he
but,
went from UCF to Oklahoma to, I don't know. Came out that Caleb Williams will not be playing against Louisville in the bowl game.
That's not a shocker.
No, it is not, honestly. So, I mean, like, maybe he wants to go to USC. Guy that's been able to mold.
I think
A lot of
everyone wants to go to USC.
A guy that's been able to mold a lot of quarterbacks. I mean, like
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen
Jalen Hurts is the biggest example. Jalen Hurts didn't look like a quarterback at Alabama. He went to Oklahoma for 1 year under Lincoln Riley. He is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. I mean, that's wild. That's wild. That's how good Lincoln Riley is. But the Kyle McCord one is interesting because yesterday, Sunday, as of recording this, it's Monday.
Kyler Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, he's got nothing but good quarterbacks, and then Spencer Rattler is the worst one. Spencer Rattler's still a solid college quarterback.
He announced that he's entering the draft this year.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. Done with South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Did a decent move for him there, but yeah.
But so Kyle McCord put his name in the transfer portal 1 day after Ryan Day was asked a question by a reporter if they were going to commit to McCord long term, and he was very mum about it.
Ooh.
And so I think Kyle McCord was like, all right, screw this. I don't need this. And
Right.
he just got out of Dodge. He's like, I'm not going to have you bring in, like, you know, Cam Ward or someone.
Here's one
DJ Uiagalelei.
Here's one that I found interesting that's in the portal, and that is UCLA's Dante Moore.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
That's an interesting one because he got a bag to go to UCLA,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's going to get another bag to go somewhere else. And he was, what, a top 3 recruit?
I think he was number 2.
Yeah, he's...
I think he's the number 2 recruit in the country.
Right. So if he finds his way, imagine he just doesn't even move house. He just Because let's be real, he has money. He doesn't need to stay in a dorm. He just decides, I'm just going to move. I don't know how far away USC is to UCLA, but
I don't think he's going to go to UCLA.
I mean
USC. That's what I meant. I don't think he's going to USC.
How funny would that be?
If I had to guess, I think Cam Ward is going to USC. But also remember, USC has last year's number one recruit in the, by a lot of people, the number one recruit available last year, who was a quarterback. I can't remember his name, but Lincoln Riley's got that waiting in the wings. So, they might bring someone in. Who's to say they don't get beat out by this guy? He's at a year under Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
He could be very, very good. So,
Will Howard of Kansas State. So that's another interesting one because 3 out of the 4 quarterbacks from Kansas State basically left Kansas State and went to the portal. The only one that remained, Avery Johnson. So either the coaches were like, yeah, this is your job, or they were like, every other quarterback knew it was his job, basically.
Yeah.
Riley Leonard is in the portal, and he's reportedly going to be the next Sam Hartman.
Yeah, he was, before he even entered the portal, it was like, people were saying, he's going to Duke. So that's good old collusion there.
Brock Vandegrift, backup for Georgia, rumored to go to Kentucky.
Wait, who? Who's rumored to go to Kentucky?
Brock
Vandegrift from Georgia.
Yeah.
Just literally what you just said. Quarterback, interesting. Someone else who has been I've heard 2 quarterbacks rumored to Kentucky. Rumored interest. Will Rogers from Mississippi State.
Right.
Put up monster numbers 2 years ago. But he was in Mike Leach's offense. That's what people do in Mike Leach's offense.
Yeah.
You could be pedestrian and just...
It's called an air raid for a reason.
Yeah. And then Will Howard from Kansas State. I've heard him, Kentucky's looking at him. I think he's talking to Kentucky a little bit. I know Will Howard, a lot of people are interested in Will Howard. The 3 schools I've heard for Will Howard are Kentucky, Louisville, and USC. Which I don't think he's going to go to USC because they're going to have their pick of the litter. They're going to have whoever they want. It's USC. It's Lincoln Riley.
Which I would argue right now it's Dante Moore is the best quarterback.
That's what 247 has.
No, they have the Oregon State kid.
Yeah. Which I don't... Was he a true freshman?
I have no clue.
Because he was the backup behind Uiagalelei. And 24/7 has Oregon State backup quarterback Adrian Chiles as the best quarterback that entered the transfer portal. He's already... I think he's already committed to...
Not 100%. Not confirmed, but yeah.
24/7 has him a 100% crystal ball to Michigan State. So
Will Rogers, they have Washington.
Interesting. That is very interesting.
DJ's also in the portal too.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. I was going to do this.
Grayson McGall, after returning to Coastal Carolina, is back in the portal as well. Which, yeah.
He had an okay year, but
right.
I wanted to do this with you.
Sure.
I wanted to do a draft.
Sure.
Of whoever you think the best quarterback in the portal right now is.
Okay.
And to determine that draft, well, let's do 3 rounds each.
Okay. Are we doing potential ability or current ability?
Just
of what they can be?
Just who you think would be the best quarterback to go and get.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to flip a coin. So, good sir, heads or tails?
Tails. Never fails.
Tails never fails. I always pick heads, so.
There you go. Worked out.
And it was tails. So, you have the first pick in the quarterback draft. For the transfer portal.
Give me Dante Moore.
Dante Moore, so you're picking? Okay.
Yeah, I'm picking Dante Moore.
I'm glad you picked Dante Moore because I am going to pick Cameron Ward.
Cameron Ward, I just don't know much about him.
Cameron Ward is really good. He just didn't have enough around him at Washington State. Put up good numbers, too.
All right. I would probably go Riley Leonard, but I don't know how he will be post-injury.
He'll be fine.
I hope you're right, but I'm going Dylan Gabriel.
Dang it, that's who I wanted. That's okay, though. That's okay. Dylan Gabriel, I don't know why Dylan Gabriel's transing, but he's a great quarterback, and whoever gets him that's a great pickup. So, not a bad choice there for number 2. My number 2, I think I'm going to go with Will Howard. I like Will Howard a lot. He's a guy, he's got a strong arm. Got a really strong arm.
Yeah.
And he was really good for him for 2 years there.
I heard a rumor today. Louisville
has been interested in him for a while.
I've heard that rumor.
I will say this. Louisville has been very interested in Will Howard. Tyler Van Dyke,
Please no.
Get this. Before Louisville and Miami even played, Tyler Van Dyke reached out to Louisville's coaching staff and said, I want to play for you guys next year. Because I think he saw the writing on the wall with Emory Williams. He's like, okay, this is not my team anymore. I got to get out of here. So he contacted the coaching staff. Was like, I want to go play for you guys. That's something. But anyway, Will Howard is my pick for number 2, I think.
Which I think
He's
is
great.
interesting because either Louisville goes and gets someone in the portal, or they say, all right, it's Clarkson's team.
It's going to...
Because he redshirted this year.
Yeah.
My last pick, knowing my Ohio State friends, they tell me to stay as far away from Kyle McCord as possible. He's not, quote-unquote, the guy. DJ had a very good bounce-back year in Oregon State, but if we're going to relive those Clemson days, it was very lackluster. I don't know. The only one that really stands...
Pick Riley, man. Go with your gut.
I mean, basically, it's Riley Leonard. If he can be what he was pre-injury, I think
he
pick.
absolutely will.
I'll take the risk.
Well, you talked about him, but you didn't pick him. That's my number 3. Is Kyle McCord.
A lot of my Ohio State buddies are like, he's not the guy.
Well, that's because they just had C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud is fantastic. He's fantastic in the NFL right now.
Yeah, he is.
And so Kyle McCord, if you look at him, he put up over 3,000 yards.
Yeah, but
he had like 30 touchdowns.
He also had like one of the best wide receiver cores. I mean,
Yeah.
you see the wide receivers that come out of Ohio State, they should honestly name it Wide Receiver University.
Mm-hmm.
It is insane.
They got the best wide receiver coach in the country.
I mean, they have, who they have, like, when Marvin Harrison Jr. was a freshman, like Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson.
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah, it's ridiculous who they
it is. I mean, like, if I had that,
I mean, you can keep going back there.
I mean, I could throw a screen to that and get 50 yards on a play, you know?
I mean, sure. But there's a reason Kyle McCord was one of the top guys in his class.
But there's also a reason why Ryan Day is also saying he
I know.
murmuring around.
I get it. I do. I think
I don't know. I'm staying away from it.
I think he's a catch.
All right.
Didn't have a bad year.
No.
So, yeah.
But he didn't have a fantastic year.
Yeah. I actually got, I'm not going to lie to you, I got who I thought were 2 of the 3 best quarterbacks in the portal.
You didn't get Dylan Gabriel.
That's who I thought was number 2. I'm a big fan of Cam Ward.
I understand that. I'm not a big fan of McCord.
I get that. I do. I just think he's good.
See, like when I ask like current ability or potential ability, like Dante Moore, not next year, but the year after, if you can keep him for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like if you can keep him till his
You can keep
junior
him
year.
for 3 years. He's going to be really good.
I
It
mean,
depends
yeah.
on if he's good enough to go pro or not.
I think he is. I think in 2 years he could be good enough. I mean, but
You know who I think is a quarterback that, if you were planning for the future, is a great grab?
Who?
Kid Morris from NC State. The guy who they were planning on redshirting this year, and then they had to throw him in the lineup because Armstrong was not getting it done. And then after 4 games, he was like, you know what? I'm going to redshirt this year. And the second he did that, I was like, oh, he's transferring.
Yep.
He's getting out of Dodge as soon as he can. I think he's a good quarterback. He kind of he was the springboard for their offense midway through the year. And so whoever can get him, I think that's a very good quarterback to build for the future.
There's going to be more kids entering the portal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do wonder how many people who are in the playoff right now are playing it, and then if things don't go right, they'll be transferring as well. But there's a lot of players that are still, I don't know. What's your thought on it? Do you transfer before the bowl game or after the bowl game, depending on the bowl game?
Well, it depends. There's
Like, if you're playing for a BCS, I think stay.
absolutely.
But if it's
go try to get that title,
But like, even like if you're playing for like the Orange Bowl, I think go get it.
Yeah, it's a huge bowl game.
Right. But I'm like, on the other hand, it's like if you're playing in the, what is it, the Pop-Tart Bowl?
That is one of them.
First annual Pop-Tart Bowl.
Let me tell you, the 2 representatives for the Pop-Tart Bowl that I saw in the press box, not the nicest people.
Really?
They just left their garbage.
Oh.
Right? That's who we're dealing with the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Well, I mean, like,
Glad we're not in the Pop-Tart Bowl.
it's Kansas State and it's
I
in
think NC
Orlando.
State. Kansas State and NC State, I believe.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. But,
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the portal. There's more to come, but
yeah. And
interested to see where these guys land.
it's interesting because they don't have the spring portal this year.
Oh,
NCAA voted to get rid of the spring
So this
portal.
is a one and done type of deal.
Yep. It's the 45-day window from when the season ends.
So as
of
Saturday, literally Saturday.
Is it Saturday or is it before? Actually, I don't know if it was Saturday or the week before.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
I think it's the regular season.
No, not the champion. Yeah, because that's post. Yep.
So I think it's going to be a little bit of a slow burn, honestly. I mean, we're seeing a lot of people now, but I think it's going to be a slow burn. And then right when it
About to end.
People are going to be like,
It's like
transfer.
It's like National Signing Day.
Yeah.
It'll be something similar. You'll have guys waiting till the last minute to make their decisions.
So that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah,
But
fair enough.
it's interesting. It's always fun to see.
It's a new way the game's being played.
Yeah. Did you see what Matt Rule said?
What did Matt Rule say?
Matt Rule said that to get a good quarterback,
Oh,
in the
$1 to
transfer
$2 million.
portal, yep, costs $1 to $2 million. Which, whenever coaches say this now, it's like 50-50, them complaining and them telling their boosters, like, give me money. You're the reason that we're not good. That's basically what they're saying sometimes, which is a ridiculous thing to say, but clearly it works.
I mean, if you can get talent, that's part of the equation.
And they've got the money in Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
But
Do they?
it's very much
What is it?
a proud fan base.
Oh,
I'm just saying they got the money as far as like
support.
People will put it up for the football team,
I gotcha.
and the volleyball team. Maybe not, basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Considering that Hoiberg has been there and he's been mediocre for so long.
Right.
But anyway,
So we've already talked about FSU and everything. Which New Year's Six bowl games are you most excited for?
well,
Let's take a look at them.
yeah, I think
I got them already up.
everyone.
So is that the New Year's? Is these right here?
The New Year's Six games are Ole Miss, Penn State, Oregon, Liberty, Ohio State, Missouri, and
Georgia, Florida
State. The one that I'm actually most interested in is probably Ole Miss, Penn State, honestly.
Yeah.
I always like to see how the Group of 5 teams do. But I think I'm most interested for Ole Miss, Penn State.
Yeah. I kind of looked at the lines of these games. Oregon's like 13.5 against Liberty.
Yeah.
And like Georgia's 9.5 against Florida State.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. And I was also like, ask me this as it gets closer because who knows how many players who's going to play. Like we don't know that yet. So it's like,
yeah, you don't know.
I don't know what the teams are going to look like. If they're going to be a shell of themselves and we call it a bowl game,
Mm-hmm.
But as of right now, it's probably Ole Miss, Penn State.
Yeah, that definitely was the most interesting.
Golly, if it was SMU, Oregon, I would put that in a heartbeat. I would say SMU Oregon.
That would be a fun game.
That'd be so much fun.
Yeah, that would just be up and down, baby.
Oh man.
But that's probably the New Year's Six bowl game I'm looking most forward to.
But SMU's got Boston College. Give me SMU by a mile.
Yeah. The other game I'm looking forward to is I'm interested to see Arizona and Oklahoma. Honestly, that is the the Alamo Bowl.
Yep.
That's going to be interesting. We mentioned it before, the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Actually, no. Let me take it back on my New Year's Six. Missouri Ohio State's gonna be fun. Cotton Bowl. I think that is going to be a very tricky
agree.
game
That's gonna be
for Ohio State.
interesting.
That's probably my answer right there. I think Missouri is a very...
Especially if Ohio State doesn't have McCord anymore.
Honestly, I don't think it's going to affect them as much as people think.
It's going to affect them. Like, there's a reason they didn't go to someone else all year.
Who was the fight between? It was McCord and...
Devin Brown.
Devin Brown. So, we'll see.
Yeah, but it's very interesting. And I think, honestly, the interesting thing about the New Year's Six bowl games, this, like, now, as opposed to what it used to be, with players sitting out, teams that had, like, higher aspirations on the year, if they don't make it to the playoff, they're kind of screwed if they're playing a team like Missouri. Like, because Missouri... I think internally they probably thought, like, oh, we're good this year. But they definitely overachieved. No one picked them to go 10-2. You know, Missouri has had a very good year. Their players aren't... I think by and large, their players are going to play in the game. Mm-hmm. Ohio State might have a lot of people that are like, I'm going pro. I don't need this. I don't want to get hurt.
Exactly.
And so
I got like a star wide receiver.
Yeah. Someone whose father was also a star wide receiver.
Yep.
But...
one game I'll say that'll be very interesting is you got a quote-unquote offensive guru in Josh
Heupel, yeah,
against a very good Iowa defense.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be a fun one.
Bowl?
Citrus. Cheez-It. Citrus.
Cheez-It. There's the cheese. Okay, so
I woke up feeling the cheesiest coaching.
It's goofy. I want that guy as our next head coach. That's who I want.
Chase.
Yeah, you're talking to see how he gets those guys motivated.
Yeah, let me see this wall. See how it's not there anymore because I just ran through it for this man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. There is Cheez-It's the sponsor for the Citrus Bowl, which doesn't really make any sense, but there's also a Cheez-It Bowl, or at least there was last year. I don't know if there's still a Cheez-It Bowl. It might have been replaced by the Pop-Tart Bowl, but.
I mean, it's a Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl now. It's
always been the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. It's been that forever.
Oh,
basically.
Yeah. Is it? I take it's in Atlanta.
Yes, that is exactly where it's played.
Yeah.
But
yep.
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think the Cheez-It Bowl got replaced by the Pop-Tart Bowl. I think there's a bowl game that whoever is like the CEO, whoever's in charge of the bowl game.
Yeah.
Because bowl games have CEOs. People don't think about it. It's really weird. They have whole corporate structures.
Oh, no. So I'll tell you this much. The bar I work at, a lovely lady come in whose daughter is the vice president of Churchill Downs.
Yeah.
Got her start with the Cotton Bowl out of college.
Sounds rich, if you ask me, but okay.
It's quite the start, isn't it? But yeah, I actually knew this because I ran into someone who it was like their first job was out of college was with a bowl. And I'm like, wonder how that works.
Well,
Troy versus Duke will be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
A little bit.
I mean, Duke doesn't have their coach anymore. That could be another like Satterfield situation where Satterfield left Louisville for Cincinnati when they were playing each other in the bowl game. If I were Duke, I would look at John Summerall. I think he's a really good coach. He's a defensive coach just like Elko was. So you would keep that going a little bit. There wouldn't be a drop off of like, oh, let's bring in this offensive guy now, and then, you know, the guy before him just had completely different priorities, so the team is all askew. That would be interesting if that happened.
Yeah.
So we're gonna wait to see those coaching carousel dominoes fall, but yeah, it's fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Kind of sucks. Like Toledo, Wyoming. It's like I really want like some of these bowl games. It's like I really want. That's a Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl.
Yeah.
Golly,
Barstool Sports has a bowl game now.
brother.
Yeah,
I watched
that's probably like the Arizona tour or whatever for golf.
So to give you an idea, I watched the FAU men's basketball versus Loyola Chicago when it was on Barstool TV.
Was that awful?
That's an understatement. The
Oh, is it on? Oh, it's on CW and
Network,
Barstool.
and
CW is also terrible.
right, but let me just preface this with watching that game on Barstool TV, the announcers were yelling at the players to score because they bet the over.
That's horrendous.
That is, you want to talk about.
Unwatchable.
They also did interviews with coaches during the game, not like pull them off to the side during a timeout right before. Like the ball is in play, and they're doing interviews with the coaches. It's a little different.
That's awful. That's terrible. I hate that. Real quick,
Sure.
the pig farmer's in the transfer portal.
Is he now?
He sure is.
Bryson Barnes is going in the portal.
I don't know why. If I were Bryson Barnes, I would just stay there.
Cam Rising, he's coming back.
Yeah, but you know, it's like whatever.
You gotta get an opportunity,
Get
man.
your free education. Get your degree. Get a nice little master's or whatever at Utah.
He's like a sophomore.
No, he's not. I think he's like a junior or something.
No,
Look it up. Look it up.
Bryson Barnes.
Yeah, it's Bryson Barnes. I think he's like a redshirt junior or something like that.
Really? I don't think so.
All right, well. While he looks that up, we've had fun talking about football. Football's great to talk about. We love talking about it. But we're going to talk about a little basketball.
He is a junior. How about that?
Look at that.
Well, if he's got limited opportunities left, he's got to go.
But
Sometimes you just got to go to that mid-major.
yeah, sometimes. We're going to talk a little bit of basketball.
What's that?
Basketball is something we love here.
We're stuck in football mode still.
Yeah, I know. So is everyone else. Just quick thing to say. TCU versus Georgetown, that ending was nuts. That was a crazy ending. What happened is TCU hit a shot to take the lead with, I don't know how much seconds, under a minute left.
Mm-hmm.
Georgetown, they come down. They set up their offense. They score. They score with like 3 seconds left on the clock. Maybe even less. I don't remember. So now Georgetown's up by like 1 or 2. TCU calls a timeout. They set up their play. They inbound it to a guy. He's running, and then he just kind of like throws up a 3, banks it in, and then crazy shot. The refs look at it to make sure, and then this is at Georgetown, so everyone's like, oh, crap, we just lost on a buzzer beater. The refs look at the shot to make sure he got it up before the buzzer sounded, which he did, but his foot was out of bounds. And then everyone at Georgetown was like, yes. And then the refs get on the mic and they're like, out of bounds is not a reviewable play. So TCU wins. The shot is good.
Oh, my goodness.
Crazy BS that, honestly, it was BS that they gave TCU the win there. Because he was his half his foot was out of bounds.
Oh.
It was very good game. Very good ending.
Did you see the one ending that I saw this morning was Yale versus Vermont.
I heard it was crazy. I did not see what happened.
I'm trying to recall watching SportsCenter this morning. It was basically Vermont was down by.
Oh wait, no,
They were down like 5.
they were down
with,
5.
with
Yeah,
like a second left,
they were down 5 with 3 seconds left,
and they won the game.
and they won the game. I actually did see that. Now that I'm thinking,
Yeah,
about it. Yeah, it was crazy.
yeah.
They
They
hit a free throw.
they had a 4-point play basically.
Yeah, they hit a free throw. They just go
Got a
down
5
real quick.
They got a 5-second rule.
They got foul, I think.
Oh,
Anyway,
it ended in a 4-point
they were
play.
down. They were down 5 with like 3 seconds left, and they ended up winning in regulation. Crazy how it happened.
Crazy.
That's why we love basketball so much. Basketball is just so
baby.
bonkers, unpredictable. Speaking of unpredictable, Duke, they're now 5-3 on the year in basketball. Not good. That's not good at all. We actually talked about this early in the year.
Which really stinks because I really wanted to hate Kyle Flip Caps.
Filipowski.
Yeah, this year. But if they're not going to be good, I can't hate them.
Man,
You're supposed to be good, white kid.
just wait until the other guy gets there.
Cooper Flag.
Cooper Flag. Yeah.
It'll get there.
I mean, we talked about this early in the year when Duke extended John Shire 6 years.
Mm-hmm. And you thought it was a little premature.
I sure did, and I feel pretty vindicated right about now, considering they're not doing so hot.
It is early.
It is early, but they're still not doing so hot. I got to thinking about it because they are 5-3 right now. I don't know if the 6-year deal was necessarily like we have the utmost confidence in John Shire as a coach. I think it was more so just like this helps with recruiting.
Oh, like,
if we give this guy a
guy
6-year deal, if he's bad, we don't care. We'll fire him. We'll eat the money. It's Duke basketball. We got Ken Jeong. He'll write us a check. I think it was quite literally just a show of confidence to recruits to be like, look, he's on a 6-year deal. Of course he's here for the long haul.
How about that?
Because they are not great. They lost 2 games to unranked teams this past week. And now I think in the AP poll they're ranked 22nd. It's just quite the fall. I think they were number 7 in the country, and now they dropped 15 spots. So they're not very good. UConn in women's basketball is like 4-3 right now. They've lost a lot of games. They lost to
Colorado.
Did they lose to Colorado?
Yeah.
Okay, so they lost to Colorado, Texas, and NC State, who I will say those are 3 very good teams this year in women's basketball. But if you're supposed to be one of the top teams in the country, you win 1 or 2 of those games. You hopefully at least.
To be fair to Duke on the men's basketball side, one of their losses was to the number 1 team in the nation right now.
Yeah. But also they lost to an Arkansas team that was just reeling. And then they lost to like a 3-2 Georgia Tech team.
Here's what I want to know. How does Kentucky go from beating the snot out of number 8 Miami to then losing to UNC Wilmington?
Yeah.
To be fair, to your superstitious people out there, when they played UNC Wilmington, it was the first time that they changed the court at Rupp Arena since 2001 before the game.
What are you talking about?
They changed the court at Rupp before that game.
Do you mean that ugly, like...
Oh, I'll show you.
The blue bar? Is that what you're talking about? Their court right now? I'm curious. Let's see this.
Before the UNC Wilmington game, a new court is coming soon to Rupp Arena in Central Bank. At midcourt and Contrasting Wood outline. November 7, 2023, they just installed it before the UNC Wilmington game. So on a new court, there is a curse.
Okay, so they got rid of the ugly court. Okay.
And they put a new court in, and they lost on it for the first game. And everyone online's like, put the old court back in.
They know they need to keep this court because I don't know if you saw their court before. It was
This is the new one.
See, that looks good. I'll give it to him. That looks good.
It has the outline of the Kentucky State on it for y'all who can't see.
The court before was one of the ugliest courts I've ever seen. It was so bad. That's the court I'm talking about. That
Yep.
is such an ugly court.
Well, their new court
It's the
is
hard
this.
That's solid. I like that.
Well, they haven't won a game on it.
They
so.
sure haven't. And give it, I'm not superstitious.
There it is. How much did the new court cost? Yeah, they just put it in. New court, baby.
How much did the new court cost? Everything.
It cost a lot. That's what it cost to UMC Wilmington.
Yeah, it cost a trip to march on a one line.
Whatever.
Anyway, and then Tennessee in women's basketball is 4-4. I'm not shocked though. Tennessee's overrated every year. They suck.
I mean,
Tennessee sucks.
if the name isn't Pat Summit that's coaching that team, they haven't been that great.
Have you watched any of Tennessee's women's games this year?
I haven't been able to watch basketball, period,
Okay.
this year.
I have watched some of their games.
And?
When they are at home, they get the friendliest whistle I've ever heard. That's such an inviting sounding whistle that they get when they're
Says,
in
"Come on
Knoxville.
over."
Yeah,
It is-
exactly.
It's nice.
Yeah, the water's fine.
The unfortunate.
And so here's
I like that one.
what I think.
They turned him into a horny toad.
What you're talking about there. But okay.
Come on in, the water's fine. Oh, I thought you were quoting "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?"
No, I've not seen that movie.
Oh, hilarious, fantastic.
I know,
George
Coen
Clooney's
brothers.
great. Yeah, what's not to
Anyway.
love?
Tennessee gets such a friendly whistle at home, and I think they get so used to playing like that. The past few years, they've gotten really high seeds in March, and then they just fizzle out. It's because I don't think they get that whistle in March. And then they're like, well, what the heck? We played like this all year. And it's like, well, yeah, well, you're not in Knoxville anymore.
Well, the other thing about it is that, to sum it up short, and this has been an epidemic of poor officiating in women's basketball.
I mean, yeah.
When they review the championship games, and they're like, it's 80-something% accuracy.
Yeah, and then an anonymous ref says, like, no, it's way worse than that.
No. All you got to do is go to one of these games and then realize that apparently body slamming a girl is a common foul.
Yeah, but who are we? We're not refs.
We don't know nothing.
All right, well, I mean,
I don't know, I
that's
was
all we got
watching
on
the
basketball.
WWE.
We got some top teams dropping like flies. Love basketball. Watch basketball. I think we're going to do our pick'ems now.
Oh.
I mean,
Okay.
you got anything else you want to talk about?
Nope.
All right, we're going to do the pick'ems. Not a lot of pick'ems this week. We've actually only got 5 games. And 4 of those 5 games are the FCS playoffs. That's
No.
right. We're in the quarterfinals.
And all 5 of them technically are FCS games. Right?
No.
Are
Army
we
and
Navy?
Navy are FBS.
Are they? No,
Yes.
they're not. No.
Navy is in the American Conference.
No.
Yes, they are.
No.
All right, you're wrong, but okay.
They won the what do you call it last year? They won. What is
No,
that?
they didn't. They're in the FBS.
What?
All right.
They won this CSFL, whatever that is, last year. 8-0.
What do you know? We're not doing this right now. They're not in the FCS.
Homo collegiate.
Sprint football. That's like flag football.
Oh. Well, Navy won it last year. They went 8-0.
Great.
I stand corrected. Anyway, this is the padded
That's
version.
skinny boy football, man.
I could be so
this,
good.
this
at
is
that.
this is big boy football. And first matchup of the big boys, we've got Furman versus Montana. Montana is the 2 seed in the tournament. Furman is the 7 seed. Furman made a bit of a miracle run last year to the semifinals. I don't think they made it to the FCS National Championship. But who you got?
Montana.
Yeah, I'm going to take Montana as well. Montana's really good. They very good in the Big Sky. I think they only had 1 loss in the year, and I think that loss was to an FBS team. Yeah, Montana's been great all year.
Why not?
Yep. Next
Go
we got
Montana, whatever your mascot is.
the Grizzlies.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There you
They
go.
got some great colors too. It's like maroon and
Oh, yeah, I've seen
maroon and gray.
Yeah.
I've adopted Montana as my favorite FCS school just because. Sorry, Murray State.
I have not.
Yeah. Anyway, This one's not going to be very difficult. We got Villanova versus South Dakota State. South Dakota State has yet to lose a game this year. I'm taking South Dakota State.
Yeah, they won it last year, right?
They won it last year, and this is the first year that they've ever been undefeated through the regular season.
Yep. How about them Jackrabbits?
Yep, so
And if this was basketball, it'd be a way different story.
it sure would, even though Villanova also has 3 losses this year. That kind of suck. Anyway, North Dakota State versus South Dakota, both members of the Missouri Valley Conference, even though they're in the Dakotas. All the Dakota teams are in the Missouri Valley. It's interesting.
Why?
I don't know. They're in the same conference as all the Kentucky teams in FCS.
Noted.
Yeah, it's weird. But I'm going to take South Dakota.
No, there's one thing I know about FCS football is you got to have the name state in your name to have a shot. Give me North Dakota State.
All right, that's our one disagreement so far. Next, this is an interesting one. We've got Albany. We've got Albany, not Albany.
Shout out Albany.
We've got Albany, the Great Danes.
Is that New York?
From New York, yes. And then we've got Idaho, who was very recently an FBS program. They were FCS. They made the move to FBS. They were garbage in FBS, and then so they dropped back down to FCS, and then they were pretty garbage for a while in FCS too. And then now they're good again.
How about that? Made the playoff.
Yeah, and not only did they make the playoff, they were the 4 seed in the playoff. Albany is the 5 seed. With that being said, I'm taking Albany.
How about that? A little fun tidbit for you. You don't know this. When Sam here was in high school, Sam had a monstrous Idaho Dynasty team in NCAA football.
Yeah.
And we went on to win the ship 8 years in a row.
That's wild.
So
Greatest team of all time?
give me Idaho backed by your head coach, your one truly, right here.
Sam Roth. Sam Roth, head coach. What kind of scheme did you have? Were you running a spread or a pro style?
Oh, we were running. What was the cheese in that game? Oh, we ran the Oregon Chip Kelly offense.
That's spread.
No, we did like the read option stuff.
A lot
Like,
of read options.
Think Marcus Mariota, Oregon. That's what we ran.
A run heavy spread.
Oh,
that's nice.
It was
That's what I like to see.
phenomenal. Because you run that read, you run it. All you had to do was like put a wide receiver in at quarterback.
And you run stop.
With like 97 speed, and then you give it to a running back on the pitch for a 99 yards. Yeah, I cheesed the crap out of that game.
Yeah, is it time to start talking about Idaho as one of the greatest FBS programs of all time because of that?
If it's
That
in-
eight championships in a row?
I still have the save. I could honestly.
Load it back up tonight. Go win a ninth.
I'll send you a photo. That's so great. They
That's
played in
great.
a dome too, and I thought it was the stupidest thing ever.
They still do play in that
They,
same dome.
they showed the stadium. It is such a shitty stadium. It's like,
It's an FCS caliber stadium.
It's just like bleachers on both sides in a dome, and then
Yeah, it's flat.
The field goal goes right up to the.
Yeah, it just ends.
It's so bad.
I mean, it's Idaho, it's cold.
Give me Idaho.
All right, and then our game of the week.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It's good.
Oh man.
Our game of the week is the only FBS game, believe it or not.
This is in Washington D.C. every year, right?
They rotate. I think it's in Philly a lot.
Really, Philly.
Yeah, they play. I'm pretty sure they used to play in Philly every year. But I guess we'll see. Where's it playing at this year?
Foxborough,
They're,
Gillette.
they're playing it in the Patriots Stadium.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, they bounce around to the 13 colonies. But
Oh, is that actually a thing, or are you just saying that?
no, that's pretty much what they do.
I didn't know that. I always thought.
Army's in New York, Maryland's in. Navy's in
Navy.
Maryland.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, they're there. Why not?
Right. Yeah. Gotcha.
Anyway, game of the week. America's game. Army versus Navy.
I really know nothing about these two teams.
They are both 5-6.
So they become bowl eligible in this game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do they even do bowls if they become bowl eligible?
Yeah.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Does this game count towards bowl eligibility for them or no?
I
Or is
think.
it's like a ceremonial game. They have to become because the bowls have already been set.
Yeah, I think they're not going to get in one this year. But
Right.
in theory, yeah, you can. You can go to a bowl game.
Yeah. Okay.
But who do you got?
I always cheer for Navy. Give me Navy. I've always had family members in the Navy. I've had friends and relatives and the like. I've always been told to cheer for Navy in this game.
Yeah.
Give me Navy.
I've traditionally liked Navy more because of the colors. Navy. But I never had anyone in the Navy. I have a cousin that was in the Army. He's a lieutenant
How about
from the
that?
Army. My grandpa was a pilot for the Air Force.
There you go.
I don't care about any of that, but I am picking Army.
Oh, there you go.
When I say I don't care about any of that, I'm saying it's not factoring into my decision.
All right, we got 3 differences here for the pick'ems.
Yeah, we do.
Fun, exciting stuff.
That's it. That's
Come
it.
on, you woohoos.
Virginia?
Idaho?
That's Virginia.
Oh, I thought
The Who's?
is that what there's something?
Yes, it's Virginia. All right. Well, we'll see you next time, I guess.
What?
Joe Vandal is Idaho's mascot. Joe Vandal. That's the greatest. Joe Vandal won 8 national championships in a row. No wonder. That guy was probably stealing the other team's buses so they couldn't drive back. I love Joe Vandal. I've just now heard of him. I love this guy.
Oh my god.
Oh, man.
What in the world?
That's
All
the
right.
episode. We're done.
It is,
All right,
yeah.
we'll see you, man.
We'll see you.